And we're back in the studio and it's time for a new video. This time we're gonna talk about the adventure tires. Which one to pick, which one to choose. I got 8 tires with me. I tested all of them and I'm gonna tell you what you have to know before buying one. What I did was to split these tires into 3 different categories. The street use one, the mostly street use one, the off-road one, and the long life tires. Let's start with the street tires. This one is very popular, probably you know it, is the Michelin Anakee 3. It was the one that came with my old GS, the R1250 GS. I know it very well and I used it for about 20,000 kilometers. Yeah, that's true. It's a very long life tire and actually it's a good tire. It has a lot of grip, it's confident on the street, but one issue I find to this tire is that the front is very, very loud at about 90 kilometers per hour. Now the next one, in fact it was the next tire I used on my GS, is the Metzeler Tourance next. Just like the Anakee, it's a 90% street, 10% off-road tire. It's a very good tire. It has basically the same life as the Anakee 3. I used it for about 18,000 kilometers. The front was gone back then. It's usually gone after 13,000, 14,000 kilometers, but I was still able to use it. It was a bit wobbly, but it was okay. Next, a similar one is the Pirelli Scorpion Trail. Why I said it's about the same? Because they look very similar. Pirelli owns Metzeler and they are built at the same factory in Brazil, these ones over here. I don't know the life, the wear of the Pirelli Scorpion Trail, but as far as I know, they don't last as long as the Metzeler Tourance next. However, they have an impressive grip on street. So if you're more into grip than into life, than into wear, then choose the Pirelli Scorpion Trail. They're amazing. They're almost like a street tire and they're my favorite for touring. So these are the street tires, 90% street. Now let's get to a different one. It's the brand new Michelin Anakee Adventure. Let's take a look at the tread. You see, it's a bit more aggressive than these ones, than the street one, but it's not very different. I don't know how this tire behaves on street because I never used it. It was just launched, it was just unveiled. I didn't get the opportunity to test it, but I tested its rival, which is the Continental TKC 70. And I wasn't impressed about that tire. I mean, it had good grip, it was okay on the street, but after 10,000 kilometers, it was gone. It was completely gone. I wouldn't recommend you to use it. It didn't come with so much off-road capabilities. It was almost the same as a street tire. I don't know about this one. I hope this one is better, but we gotta find out. Now, the next one. Let's get to some serious stuff. This is the Metzeler Karoo 3. The Metzeler Karoo 3, it's a 50-50 adventure tires, so you can use it both in off-road and on street. It's not a long life tire. It's gonna take about 5,000, 6,000 kilometers for you to finish it, and it's gone. But Actually, it gives you good grip. I remember using this tire at the R1250 GS Adventure launch back in Spain, and it was really nice. It was a really nice tire, both on street and on the off-road. This one is a classic. It's the Continental TKC 80 to Enduro. It's probably the best known tire in its category, 50/50. It looks very good, it looks very aggressive, and it's very confident when using it both in off-road and also on street. Unfortunately, just like the Metzeler, this one has a very short life. It wears after about 5,000 6,000 kilometers, depending on your riding style, on your weight, on the weight on the bike, if you have a passenger or not, if you're using it most on street or on off-road. But anyway, it's my favorite when it comes to 50/50 dual sport tires. And the third one, in the same category, this one is the Michelin Anakee Wild. It was launched to compete the TKC 80, and the guys at Michelin promised to come with a better life, with 30% or something more life in this tire. I don't know if it's true actually, because we used it at our middleweight comparison, as far as I know, and after 3,000, 4,000 kilometers, it was almost gone. I mean, you still had some thread on the rear, but I don't know. It didn't feel very confident, and it was like a square. Another thing I noticed at this one is that it's very noisy. The front is very noisy, and I didn't like it at all on street. On off-road it's okay, but on street, too much noise. So what we have? Street tires, 50/50 dual sport tires. These ones are good on the street, but they're not good on off-road. These ones are both good on street and on off-road, but they were very quick. And there's the third category. I call them the long life tires. Take a look at this one over here. This is the Heidenau K60 Scout. I used it back in the Caucasus ride. This is a very tough tire. It can last for more than 10,000 kilometers without having some issues. In fact, I heard about some minor issues. There are some guys telling that they observed some cracks on the tire after a while, after 4,000 kilometers or so, but I don't know the pressure they put in the tire, because usually on big bikes, if you go and read the bike manual, the specs, it's a very high pressure to put on these tires, and I don't know if it suits the tires. But otherwise, besides those cracks, I didn't have them. They're okay. What I don't like about these tires, about the K60 Scout, is that the front is very noisy. It's somehow like the Anakee Wild, and it's also vibe. It vibes on my bike, on the R1250 GS. It vibes a lot when accelerating at low speeds. And the last one, which is my favorite in this category, is the Mitas E7. It's a really great tire. It can run for more than 10,000 kilometers without any issues. And I'm thinking about the back tire right now because the front, it can last longer. It's not noisy, it doesn't vibe, it's not wobbly on street. It's really a great tire. It's a bit slippery at the beginning. It's a bit slippery when it's raining because when building such a long life tire, well, the composition is not that soft. It's a hard tire, so I think that's the reason it's slippery on street. But after a while, after you get used to it, this is the tire to use if you want to go in a long adventure for more than 10,000 kilometers. So what you have to know before buying your next adventure tires is where you're gonna use them, where you're gonna ride, when you're gonna go in your next holiday, let's say. If you're gonna go touring on street, just buy a street tire because it's the best. It has a great lifetime, it has the best grip on the road. If you want performance, both in Enduro and on the street, you can buy the Continental TKC 80 to Enduro, or the Michelin Anakee Wild, or a Metzeler Karoo 3. And if you wanna go on a long adventure for more than 10,000 kilometers to, I don't know, Africa, Siberia, Pamir Highway, and so on, just buy one of these two tires, the Heidenau K60 Scout or the Meatus E7. They don't behave as good as the other ones on street or on off-road, but they have an impressive lifetime, and this is the most important thing when having a long trip.